Welcome, everybody. I'm Tisha. I am the co-host of the Social Connect Business Happy Hour, along with Brandon. Brandon, raise your hand back there. Yep, this is Brandon. So we've been hosting this event for the last 7 months here at Three Wise Men, and it really started because we got tired of networking. How many of you can agree with, networking kind of drives me a little crazy? So we decided to create an event that was more about social connecting, people meeting people first, and getting to know people as people and creating and cultivating relationships that way, instead of, hey, Judy, what do you do? This is what I do. I don't really care what you do, but I want you to do business with me. Does that sound familiar? So this is more about collaborating, cultivating those relationships, and getting to know people. So the Success Over Struggle panel was pretty much born because I love interviewing other entrepreneurs, business professionals, people in the business community, and really hearing what their success over struggle story is. So a lot of us have these failures, a lot of us have these, I had to go through this to get through this, and I think that that is something that's needed, is to just hear from others to inspire you, to motivate you, to keep you moving forward. So this is really just a very quick panel. We do not plan on being here for 2 hours. It's about a half an hour, and the audience can ask questions as well, but we want to get you to know the people on the panel. I asked, like, Dominic, I think you and I had a discussion, and I'm like, do you go to events like this? And you're like, no. But you're here. I hope you like the event. He's got the soccer ball for my son, and he'll tell you a little bit about that too. But I love this because this is a chance to meet people that you probably don't usually meet because they don't go to networking events. I know Lynne, crazy busy girl. She is chief of awesome. Chief executive of awesome. So you're going to get to meet these people too. So I'm going to kick us off, and we're going to start with Paula. But before I do that, we do have a 50-50 raffle going on right now for Mission of Mercy. Jessica Green is right here if anybody is interested. I usually do this right after the panel, and you get 50% of the pot. We do take credit cards. So I think some of you may have asked if we take credit card. We do. So if you still would like to buy into that 50-50, you can do that at the back with Sherry. So Paula, can you tell us just really quickly about your Mission of Mercy and what it is that you do for the community?
Good evening, everybody. It's really nice to be here. And Tisha, thank you for contacting us and getting us out here tonight. It's good to be here. Mission of Mercy has been in the Valley for 21 years. We are a primary care mobile medical clinic providing services for the uninsured. Arizona is one of the highest rates of uninsured across the nation. And so our patients come to us when they have been turned away from many other places. And we love the fact that when they come to us, we simply say, how can we help you? We provide good quality health care through volunteers, and we save lives in the community.
Who wants to help their mission? Oh, that's loud, sorry. Oh, okay. All right, so I'm going to start with Paula. I'll tell you a little bit about her. She is the Executive Director for Mission of Mercy. She leads the fundraising efforts, expansion, partnership building, and program development for the Arizona program. She served as the organization's programs and operations manager for 10 years before being named Executive Director in January, just this past January. Congratulations. And she has more than 30 years of experience with local nonprofit organizations in managing events, projects, and programs. So if you would like to learn more about nonprofits, I highly suggest you reach out to Paula. All right, so question for Paula. Life is about learning and challenging ourselves every day. When was the time you had to challenge yourself to do something that pulled you completely out of your comfort zone, and how did you get through that?
I'm going to have to back up to the end of 2017 when suddenly our leadership changed at our organization, and I was presented with an offer to lead the organization as the executive director. In all my years with nonprofits, I've taken more of a backseat role, not the person in the front of the organization. And so I have to say that it was a real stretch for me to be able to say yes, and I didn't have a lot of time to think about that. But when I thought about the organization, how much it means to me and how much it means to our communities, I realized it was the right thing for me to do. Doesn't mean that I know everything, though. So I stepped in really outside of my comfort zone to become the chief fundraiser of this organization and really the face of the organization. So for me, I think it's been just a really growing and stretching and learning every day, and really relying on the people who've been with me on my journey. I think it's so important to reach out to those people for support when you really need somebody in your corner to say, you can do this. And so that's been that for me this year.
All right, thank you. Next up, we've got Dominic. This is a hard man to get a hold of. How many of you know Dominic? Okay, Rich, Brandon, Lynne, close friends. This is the first time Dominic and I have met. I think when we tried to talk, it took us like 20 times to just get a call scheduled. And then he's like, I'm off to Portugal now. I'm like, what? So soccer ball. He is a Team USA soccer player. And then he's also running an organization at the same time, bridging public and private sector together to create smart cities. So incredible man right here. I'll tell you a little bit about him and ask him his question, but he is the executive director and co-founder of the Institute for Digital Progress, IDP, a not-for-profit organization designed to transform Arizona into a global hub of smart city IoT technology driven by collaborative civic innovation. He helped build the Smart and Connected AZ Council, which provides cities with an innovation as a service model, a platform that allows local governments, private industry, and academic research institutions to collaboratively design and develop new innovative technology pilots that advance solutions to public challenges, have a measurable impact, and the potential to scale. What position do you play on?
I am a center back, so defender. Yes.
A defender. My son's a defender.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going to send him to you for training.
Yes, bring him out.
All right, okay, so question for you, Dominic. Sometimes things don't always go according to plan. I think we talked about that a little bit, where you're like, why can't they just move it along? Like working in the public and private sector. Share a pivotal moment when you decided to go with your gut, go against the grain, and just go for it. And what did you learn in the process?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. There was actually a major turning point. So about, I would say a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, the city of Columbus won a $40 million Department of Transportation grant from the Department of Transportation. And through collaboration, they actually turned that $40 million into a $140 million transportation project for their city. Huge game changer, right? It's going to completely revolutionize the way Columbus is shaped and the way Columbus works. And I actually went to Ohio State University, and I was working with this nonprofit trying to transform the city of Phoenix and our region into a smart city. And being the competitive person I was very upset. How can the city of Columbus pull together all these organizations and create a culture of collaboration to be competitive and win this huge grant? And here's the city of Phoenix, 5th largest city in the country, and we didn't even apply for it. So it was a very, very motivating factor for me, losing that opportunity for that big investment. So I started talking to some leaders around the region, and I said, look, I'm going to build this thing, and I'm going to call it the Smart and Connected Council. And my main mission is I'm going to pull together the large industry partners in our region, together with all of the cities and the largest university in our region. And we're going to form this council, and we're going to meet, and we're going to collaborate. So that way the next time a big opportunity like a DOT grant comes out, we're not going to compete, but we're going to win it. And so I hit the ground. I had this vision for this council. And I started talking to mayors, talking to CEOs of Intel, of Avnet, of Microsoft. And it was very nerve-wracking because here I am, I think I was a master's student at the time at ASU with this big vision, and there I am sitting across from Mayor Lynne and explaining to him how I'm going to, build this council and we're going to change the game for our region. And so it was very nerve-wracking, but I felt in my gut that we could do it. Believe it or not, if you believe in something and you're passionate about it and your motivations are true, people will believe in your mission. So all of a sudden, I had the conversation with Mayor Lynne, he joined the council. I had the conversation with Mayor Giles, he joined the council. Mayor Stan joined the council. All of a sudden, all these mayors were joining. Then I talked to Intel, they joined. Cisco joined. Microsoft joined. all these other players joined it. Then I talked to Crow. Michael Crow wanted to join and bring ASU on board. All of a sudden, I had formed this council. Believe it or not, I formed the council. The second month of our meeting, the DOT came out with another big grant. It was a Advanced Transportation Congestion Management grant, basically help reduce congestion on our freeways. I reached out to ADOT. I said, ADOT, here's our opportunity. Are you going to apply for this grant? ADOT said, you know what, we applied last year, we didn't win, so I don't think we're going to do it. I said, well, that's a poor attitude to have. I said, let's see what we can do this year. So I said, okay, so last year, did you talk to ASU and some of the leading transportation researchers there? No. I said, okay. I said, did you reach out to Intel, Cisco, Microsoft, talk to some of the industry partners right in your backyard? They said, no. I said, did you talk to anyone? They said, no, we just wrote the grant ourselves. I said, well, no wonder you didn't win. So I leveraged this new council. I had all the mayors write letters of support. I had ASU researchers partnering with ADOT on the grant application. And then I had letters of support from our industry partners. And guess what? We won. We brought $6 million into the region to reduce congestion on the freeway through technology. Might not be a big deal, but for ADOT and MCDOT and all the government agencies involved, it was a bright, shining moment, right? Their eyes lit up and said, oh my God, if we actually collaborate with people, we can do stuff. It was like, no duh, right? And so I think having that motivating factor and that vision of, okay, sure, I was sick of getting my butt kicked by cities like Columbus and Dallas, but having that vision and just being brave enough to go talk to people that you may think are out of your zone, like the governor or the mayors, just believing in yourself and taking that risk, it definitely pays off. So I would say that was a time where I followed my gut and I probably overstepped some boundaries that I probably shouldn't have. But when you believe in something and you're passionate about it, I think your true self shines through. So
I'm just going to say, I think it's time for some of us to overstep our boundaries. When Brandon and I created this event, people are like, no business cards? What is that? I'm like, oh, geez, shut up. But now everybody's like, oh, and you do like this whole thing, this is getting noticed. I have people out of state asking me what I do with this. I'm like, it's an icebreaker. It's nothing like crazy. But it's I think when you step out of that zone and you stop following what other people are doing, or like what you said of, you've never done this, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this, and I'm going to collaborate with all these people, and we're going to show you how it's done. I think that's such a brave step, and now everybody is benefiting from it. So kudos. All right. And next up, we've got Lynne Smith. Lynne is a writer, blogger, lover of social media, and loves to share ideas about using technology across markets. She helped to found and ran the Communications for Nonprofit from 1996 to 2002 and worked as a senior writer for nonprofits for 10 years. She holds a BS in business degree with an e-business concentration and manages the online presence for Ticket Force out in downtown Gilbert, right above Whiskey Row, kind of?
No,
not right. Brass
Where the
Tap.
good beer is, at Brass Tap, okay?
Brass Tap,
If you're
yes.
questioning, head south of one door.
She is the founder and Chief Executive of Awesome. You are the CEA of Ticket Force. In January of 2010, her blog, The Whole Business, is casual conversation on life and business. So this is perfect for you. We could talk about life, we could talk about business. All right, Lynne. So Lynne and I did a quick video. Some of you guys might have seen that. And she shared that you don't have a plan B. Her best words of wisdom were, do not have a plan B. How many of you have a plan B? Nobody has a plan B.
Mother, you're lying. You're lying.
You're lying. She says you're lying. Not to have a plan B. So how have these words of wisdom shaped what you do in life and business? And share a moment you had to go through to grow you while building your business, Ticket Force, and raising a family, because you also have daughters, too.
I have three.
3 daughters.
I do. But they're 32, 30, and 26. So, we communicate regularly, but they're not youngins anymore. So, it's hard to pick one moment. We started the business when I was 40. That's the Ticket Force business that I'm in now, and so it's 15 years old. started when I was 40. So when you're 40, I had a high schooler, a junior higher, and an ADD 9-year-old, and I thought this is a good time to start a business. So the number of stories that you might have, and now I feel like I was telling you, like if you tell people I've been in business for 15 years, I feel like it's old, and it's like, why haven't you sold yet? Why haven't you flipped that thing? It's past 3 years now, and so there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears when you're privately funded, as we are. We don't have any venture, we don't have any PE. Not that we're not going there at some point, but the last 15 years have been all blood, sweat, and tears and organic growth, and that's old-fashioned and at the same time amazing. So share a moment when there wasn't a plan B. All the moments there was no plan B. Probably one of the darkest times I can remember was when we owed a note for over $1 million that we couldn't come good on. It came due, we couldn't come due. How do you deal with that? That's a lot of money. And I remember just thinking, if I had a way out of this to just fold it, most people would do that. And this was like in year 3 or 4 or something like that. And you think, how did I get to this point? I'm supposed to be doing something really great, and I'm creating jobs, and I'm a business leader, and this is what America is built on. And here I am laying in bed trying to figure out how I'm going to manage this $1 million note. I'm still here. It was managed. It was all amazing how it worked out, and it's paid off. It's done. And that's the moments, I think, when you're laying there and you're thinking, and I say laying because it's always when you're in bed, you're thinking there must be a better way to make a living and build wealth than this. And there might be, but for me, there wasn't. And that's, I think, when you really find out if you're truly an entrepreneur and if you have what it takes. So a lot of people will tell me that they want to start a business, and I'm like, okay, how much do you like to sleep? Because while I'm about holistic living and being healthy and taking care of myself, there are just nights where you don't sleep. And there's a lot of nights when you don't sleep. And you add on top of that I had teens. So I don't know when I've last had, actually I had a good night of sleep last night. But nonetheless, if you have an exit plan or a way out, if you see a ramp there, most of us are going to take it. So people say, how are you still in business after all this time? You're private fund. Because we didn't stop. That's the only reason. It's like I've been married for over 35 years, and people say, wow, how did you do that? It's pretty easy. You don't get a divorce. It's the same answer in business, right? You just don't quit. And so that's the life motto. I don't really know another way.
No, I like that motto. Because what you were saying too is a lot of us are like, it's getting tough. I'm going to quit now.
Yeah, add a couple zeros.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real key with business and finance is just like, it's just zeros. They're not that scary. Like everything has a multiplier and it's just zeros, right? So, it's not something to really fear.
I'm going to just keep putting that in my head. I'm not counting sheep. I'm counting zeros. Dang those zeros. Okay. All right. So another question I have, and then if anyone has questions for the panel, please let us know. But we're going to wrap it up in a little bit too. But if you could be a superhero for a day, since we're in Halloween, happy early Halloween. Halloween candy right behind you, so help yourself. What would your superpower be and why? And I'm just going to let any one of you kick it off. Lynn, it seems like you have one.
Well, because I asked my staff before I left, I said, I have this question. And they're like, well, Wonder Woman. I'm like, no, that's like the obvious answer. But then I was like, wait, she's an Amazon, and they're pretty damn cool, and I love the movie. So I thought of that. But then I realized I really, really would love to be Batman. Fantastic car. Didn't really ever hurt anybody because I'm just not a violent person. He didn't really have a superpower. He just kind of put his costume on. And that's kind of what you do every day when you do great stuff. You at least, people are like, how did you do that? What you did. I don't know. You got up, you put your Batman suit on, and there you go. So
Okay,
I'm going
Lynne,
with Batman.
I think that everyone would like to hear best impersonation. Go. I'm Batman.
I can't do that.
I'm Batman.
What?
You have to say, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Awesome. All right. Dominic, Paula?
If we're talking superhero abilities, I would love the ability to fly or to transport, because most of my day is spent in cars going to different city halls, and traveling in a car throughout the valley all day gets on my nerve. Anytime I have to sit in traffic, it kills me. I'm trying to fix that. That's the reason why I started this. And I coach soccer at night, so I'm going from downtown Phoenix to El Tuque to Gilbert. So anytime I can just transport, that would be lovely. So I'm just waiting for that day. I'm thinking autonomous vehicles might get me there faster enough.
You do the like I dream of Genie superpower. That and now I'm here, and now I'm gone. All right, Paula?
Well, I actually don't have like a regular superhero thing that I would like to be, but I just need to get a teeny bit serious, because we live in a world right now where we're very polarized, we're very divided, and I think it makes it really hard to get things done. And so if I had a superpower that I could create, wave a wand, become a unifier of people, and really work together, because to that conversation around collaboration, we really can't get anything done without working with people, without working with organizations. And we have a lot of issues that we could really make a big difference in our communities. So I went a little serious on this one, because I'm kind of in that mode where I have a large budget to raise, and I'm thinking I am meeting with a lot of great people around healthcare issues, and it's really invigorating me a lot. So if I had that opportunity, I'd love to be able to unify people around great change to make our world a better place to be.
I think that fits right in with your mission. You're the change maker. That's what you want to do. I'm going to answer that question too, because I come up with the questions. I'm like, I want to answer this. I would love to be a mind reader for the day, because I get a lot of clients who are like, don't you know what I want? I'm like, no, I have no idea. I don't know that you like purple. So mind reader. So if you guys remember that movie, What Women Want, with Mel Gibson, so they just created a What Men Want. I think it's the girl from, what's the show? I can't remember. Empire. I think that she's, yes! She's kind of Mel Gibson, so she can hear what all the men want. Is that right? Are we difficult people? All right, any questions from the audience that you'd like to ask any one of the panelists?
Yeah, the team was small at the time. It was just my husband and I co-founded the business together. We actually didn't ask anybody for help. It was kind of weird. We have all kinds of advisors now that we didn't have. They probably wouldn't have had us get into that situation. We negotiated our way out of it. Yeah.
So it was a you and Brad thing that you two had to figure. I'm sure it made your marriage a lot stronger. Yes? You're still married. You're still here. Any other questions? Judy, you have a question? I know Carmen has. I know, and I keep avoiding because okay, so you guys know that the question for this month was, what was your Halloween costume? And I keep sporting Playboy Bunny, and people are like, what? There's a story. So I'm just going to tell Judy at the same time I tell all of you. My husband, who was not my husband at the time, is my boyfriend. He dressed up as Hugh Hefner, and I could not let him go by himself. That just seems silly. So I sported this ridiculous Playboy Bunny costume to a party. It looked horrible. I do not look good with blonde hair whatsoever, and that's what I went as. I don't dress up very much, but I was telling Logan and Philip Maddock over there that it was either that or Smurfette. So I thought this made for a funnier story. So the reason why we do these is because people, I think when they come to these events, are naturally more on the introverted side. And like I said, I don't want to go to Carmen and be like, what do you do, Carmen? And you're like, this is what I do. Great. Okay, I'm walking away because I don't know what else to say to you. But if you ask someone something like, you went as a genie, like I Dream of Genie, or Genie in a Bottle of Christina Aguilera, what? Like, you will want to say that story. You'll want to share what it is that you were, So we're more about storytelling. So I'm really big, like on LinkedIn, talking about stories. And that's kind of where this comes in. But yeah.
I wanted to find the doers in the community. So I actually used to work for one of the councilmen of the city of Phoenix, and I started there. I said, who do you know in the community that's a doer? And then I reached out to them and had a conversation, had coffee with them, and asked him who did they know who was a doer, got things done. And eventually it just led me to more and more people that were these kind of doers in the community. It just so happens that a lot of these doers were the CEO or the COO or the CIO of these large corporations. And so, but I'll never forget it. I mean, I somehow found my way into the governor's office, sitting there having a meeting with Doug Ducey. And I remember waiting there for him to come in and thinking, oh, I'm a master's degree student. I started this nonprofit 6 months ago. What am I doing? What am I doing here? And I was really nervous. But I always taught myself a trick. I don't know if you guys know Matthew McConaughey and the old movie where he used to have a thing where before he went on stage or anything, he would just take a deep breath and say, all right, all right, all right.
Magic Mike.
Right? But you have to trust in your belief and in your passion. And every time I would get nervous talking to a mayor, talking to a CEO of Intel, I just say, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Because I believe in this and I really think my motives were true. I was a nonprofit that all I wanted to do was make our city smarter, provide a higher quality of life for people, and bring investment into our community. How could I go wrong with those motives? And so it allowed me to relax a little bit as I was having these big time conversations with these very, very powerful individuals, because I knew what I was trying to not really sell, but sell was motivated by the right principles. So don't get me wrong, I was very nervous the first couple meetings, but then as you do it, practice makes perfect, right? Just like soccer for me, you train. Come game day, you know exactly what you're doing. So learn by doing, I guess.
And there are many nonprofits just in Maricopa County alone. We're such a huge county, so there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people out there. There's a competition for funding and that sort of thing. We at Mission of Mercy, we really try to seek out the partners that we know are doing good work in the community, begin having those conversations to figure out how can we work together, how can we collaborate to be able to move our agendas forward together to serve people. And we do talk with some who have good intentions, but they don't maybe always know what to do and how to get things going and started. It tends to be sometimes slow to get things going in the nonprofit world. And so it's really trying to have some of those thoughtful conversations with people, really look at who they're partnering with already, and then figuring out together what can we move forward. So, great question.
All right. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up real quick, too. So our next event, because it's Thanksgiving next month, is on November 14th. And, okay, I thought I saw a hand. November 14th, and we have a really great panel coming, too. We've got the City of Scottsdale City Manager, you know him, Jim Thompson, coming, as well as the Phoenix Business Journal publisher, Ray Shea, will be on the panel, and Sydney Grover, young girl from GCU who created her own nonprofit called Can You Spare a Story? So she goes around helping the community as well. So they're joining me up on the Success Over Struggle panel. But kind of to your point, I posted a picture of me and Ray Shea in his office, along with Ray Shea's cardboard cutout at the Phoenix Business Journal. And people were like, how do you know him? How do you talk? How do you sit in his office? And I'm like, I just asked him. Like I just had a conversation. We connected on LinkedIn. We talked about things other than business, and we developed a connection. And that's really what you're doing. Like I think that we look at people and they're like, I can't talk to Paula. Oh, I'm so intimidated by Paula. But Paula is a regular person if you just talk to her. Right? Yeah. So anyway, so that is coming up. I'll put the registration up for that. We are doing a buy one, bring a friend. So if you'd love to come back and you love this event, then bring a friend with. We also have Kari Towns. Jody Towns' husband is making his famous sweet potato pie. So we always bring dessert. We've done popsicles, chocolate cake. Little known fact, do not eat chocolate cake and beer for dinner. It is not a good thing. It'll keep you wired. But we do have candy if you'd like to take some home. If that is your only Halloween treat, take some. All right, thank you so much for coming out. Enjoy yourself. Oh, we like to just do a really quick group picture over here, kind of on the little benches. And then panel, if you'll stick around, we like to do our album cover photo. I know Lynne has seen these. Super silly, but yes, Jonathan does a good job with that. But just thanks again from Brandon and myself for being here tonight and enjoying the evening with us. Thank you.